See, I was just about to use the throttle to go, and first of all, the bike's not on, but second of all, I would just shift down because the freaking throttle's on the wrong side of the bike. Like, why? I just don't have gears. Hey everybody, I'm Ethan, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Engwe Engine Pro electric bike. This is a folding fat tire bike that has a large range, dual suspension, and a price tag of $1,449 US. So if you're in the market for a folding fat tire bike, is the Engine Pro the right one for you? We're going to take a look next on Now Let's Review. This is a folding fat tire bike. I've said in previous videos, I don't like this concept of bikes. I think it's kind of useless to have a massive bike like this that folds. Ignoring the fact that I don't like this category of bikes, I'm gonna just check out this particular bike. Getting into some of the specs, this has a 750 watt hub motor on the back wheel with a peak output of 1,000 watts of power. It does a pretty good job. It's pretty torquey, and it brings this up to a top speed claimed of 24 miles an hour. Ready now. Acceleration is very slow, if I'm being honest. There's 24, 25, 26. Okay, so it's topped out around 26. Oh, 27, 28. 30, okay. Inside this beast of a bike is a 48 volt, 16 amp hour removable lithium ion battery that gives this a claimed range up to 62 miles in the pedal assist mode. I will say, I've been pretty impressed by the range of this bike. I didn't manage to get the full 62 miles of claimed pedal assist range. I don't remember exactly what the range was that I got on my range test, but I'll put it up on screen. I was also using some throttle here and there and was going up and down hills and stuff. Speaking of pedal assist, this is cadence sensing pedal assist, and there are 5 levels. It's very difficult to get a smooth ramp up of power delivery with this. It's a very, very touchy throttle. It's kind of on or off. So pedal assist is about what you'd expect from your average budget kind of e-bike setup. I mean, not that this is super cheap, but I just mean in terms of quality. It takes a couple seconds to kick in, so it's a pretty bad response time. And then it takes another second or two to disengage. The frame is an aluminum alloy frame, and it honestly seems pretty well made. Like, the welds are nice. The quality overall actually seems relatively good. And with the battery installed, this bike weighs a monstrous 83 pounds. This is a big, heavy bike. This has 20 by 4 inch fat tires. I've never heard of the brand before. It is Chow Yang. So far, I've had no issues with these tires. This has a maximum carrying capacity of 300 pounds. The reason I say carrying capacity, not rider weight, is because this does have a rear rack. Going over the looks, I think it looks good, but ignoring the ugly overall shape of these bikes as a category, this bike itself actually looks pretty good. It's got a nice matte black paint finish everywhere. This actually has rear suspension. This has an HLT 100 rear shock, and I'll talk more about it when I'm riding, but it is worth pointing out that this does have front and rear suspension. All right, so I just hit the storm drain, which is actually a pretty big divot into the road, and honestly, it was relatively smooth. The rear suspension actually does compress more than I originally gave this bike credit for. I'm gonna do some trail riding. I'm gonna risk a lot by sitting down on the seat right now. The front suspension doesn't do much when it comes to hitting really rough stuff. Like I said, it has front and rear suspension, but they don't do a whole lot. And yes, this is a pretty rough trail with a lot of roots and rocks and everything, but still, my goodness. The seat is pretty big, actually. It's a pretty wide seat, and it is not terribly uncomfortable. Overall rider comfort is actually pretty good. Like I said, the seating position is pretty comfortable. The seat itself is actually, you know what? It's not that bad. We have an 8-speed Shimano Altus here, and it does have the thumb shifter on the right side, which means the damn thumb throttle is on the left side, and I hate that. Also on the left side, we have a horn, plus and minus buttons here for the pedal assist level. You do, again, have 5 levels of pedal assist. If you hold down the minus button, it does the pedestrian walk assist kind of thing, although it is extremely abrupt. So if you hold down the plus button, this little icon that shows up there, that is the cruise control icon. This does have the automatic turn on cruise control. And it's also worth mentioning that now I'm on cruise control because I held the throttle steady, so the bike is just continuing to accelerate while I'm not touching the throttle. But just give the throttle another tap or hit the brakes and cruise control will disengage. In mode 1, if I go full throttle here, leaning it up on the kickstand, it only gets up to 17, 18 kilometers an hour. If I go mode 2, it goes faster. Mode 3 goes faster. Mode 4 goes faster. Mode 5 goes faster. You get the picture. The screen itself on this is actually a really, really nice display. It's very bright and easy to read. If I press the info button right here, which is the middle button, I can see my power, my current power output, my trip time, my maximum speed, my average speed, the total distance, and my trip distance. So this does have hydraulic brakes, front and rear. We do have Logan brand hydraulic disc brakes. They are 160 millimeter rotors. All right, so I'm just gonna coast down the hill until I get to a probably unreasonable speed to do the brake test, and then I'll do the brake test. Okay, this is reading 36 kilometers an hour, and brakes now. Yeah, they work. It's very hard to read, but there's just this little glossy text that says build-in, not built-in, build-in energy recovery system. So this bike makes the claim that it has regen braking, but I have yet to experience anything that remotely resembles regen braking when riding this bike. And now the part I'm most dreading when talking about folding fat tire bikes is the actual folding aspect. Yes, this does fold down the typical horrible way that folding bikes fold down. And because this bike is so heavy, it's really difficult to fold. Like, I break it open with my knee and just, you know, awkwardly kind of fold it. There we go. So again, yes, this battery is obviously removable. This does not feel particularly heavy. I would say this feels like it's about 10 pounds at most. And then reinstalling it, pretty straightforward. Okay. So again, as much as I dislike it, it feels pretty sturdy. In case I missed something, or in case you want to look at all the detailed measurements and specs all for yourself, I'm gonna put up a screenshot showing all the specs I can find from their website, so you can pause the video and look if you are interested. Overall, I think the Engwe Engine Pro is a good option if you're looking specifically for a folding fat tire bike. It's well made, has dual suspension that actually does something, and is a pretty all-around capable bike. When I tested the range, I managed to get 34.3 miles out of it using both throttle and mid-levels of pedal assist on trails and roads. This is a good range considering the circumstances, but I'm not entirely sure if you'd really be able to get the full 60 miles that they claim out of this bike, even in more ideal conditions. In the end, if you're looking for a folding fat tire bike, I think the Engine Pro is one that you should definitely consider. Before we wrap up, I want to give a shout out to Lumos helmets again. Thank you to Lumos for partnering with us. If you want to pick up an amazing helmet like this, which is the Lumos Matrix that has headlights, taillights, and directionals built in, make sure you head on over to lumoshelmet.co and use the code NowYouKnowLumos at checkout for a discount on your order. Anyways, that wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you want to see more reviews of electric bikes, electric scooters, all that kind of stuff. Hit the subscribe button. We got lots of videos that we've already made and lots more videos in the works. So we'll see you next time. Now let's review.